I'm with Mr. Amar Singh Dulat, former chief of India's external intelligence agency, the RNAW, and a long-time watcher on Kashmir affairs. I'm Jyoti Malhotra with the Tribune here in Chandigarh. I'm joining Mr. Dulat, who's in his home in Delhi. And we are talking about the new Jammu and Kashmir, the Naya J&K. Omar Abdullah of the National Conference has won this election in coalition with the Congress party. He's also being supported by four independents as well as Yusuf Tarigami of the CPM. He has a total of 49 MLAs in his kitty out of an assembly of 90 seats plus 5 nominated, but we'll look at that later. First of all, Mr. Dulat, let me welcome you to the Tribune. Welcome.
Thanks a lot, Jyoti. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Talking to you is always nice.
So now, there's a new Kashmir in the making. Omar Abdullah is going to be sworn in some time. What do you make of it? Your first comments on the elections, on the fact that Omar Abdullah is back as the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir?
I think it's a great election for Kashmir. As Yusuf Tarigami Saab said, this is a victory for Kashmir. But I think it's also a victory for Omar Abdullah and most of all for Dr. Saab. And I think it's his
Dr. Farooq Abdullah.
Yeah, Dr. Farooq, yeah. The other thing is that the transference of power, as I see it, from father to son has been so smooth that, it puts at rest all stories about differences between Dr. Farooq and Umar and whatever it is. So I think it's great in every way, except that the Congress flopped in Jammu. Now they've got to look and see why that happened, because it was a total, they won one seat. It's unbelievable what happened there, but then it's for the Congress to figure out. Otherwise, a fantastic election, great result. The BJP has done well in Jammu, as anticipated, except that I thought the Congress would get a few more seats, at least 10 or so.
Okay, so let's take all these points of yours one by one. The BJP has done very well, like you said. It had 25 seats in the 2014 assembly, which was 10 years ago. It's got 29 seats now. The Congress has done really badly. It should have done much better. What do you think, Mr. Dulat? What happened?
I can't figure this out, really. It's for the Congress to figure out. All along when I was making inquiries, I was told that the BJP would be stuck at about 25 and the Congress would be close to 10. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, that didn't happen because the BJP went up to 30 and the Congress got stuck at 1. I don't know what happened. But what is very important in Jammu and Kashmir is the arithmetic. So I can tell you one thing, that as the Congress campaign towards the end seemed to be sort of fizzling out, the BJP was hoping that the National Conference would not cross 30. In which case, then there might have been a chance for the BJP to reach out to the NC. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of people who said the NC would get 30. I said they will get 35. Well, actually, they got 42. So, that is ruled out for the time being, any alliance. The whole thing is very clear now. It's Congress, National Conference, Congress, and CPM, and a few others. Yeah, that's how it is.
So are you saying that the BJP was ready to ally if push came to shove, if the conditions were right, to ally with the National Conference?
That's right. That's my sense. I think what's more important is that would the National Conference be willing to ally with the BJP? Because all along the National Conference leaders have been saying, no way will we go with the BJP. But politics is a peculiar thing, and if the numbers were such, what happened to Mufti Saab in 2014? I think in Mufti Saab's case, there was a little more arrogance. But again, if the numbers were such, who knows what would have happened?
You think, you remember there were all these rumors in 2014 too, Mr. Dulat, when, like you said, the National Conference did very badly. The PTP only got seats in the Valley. The BJP only got seats in the Jammu region. And there were all these rumors that the National Conference, even at that time, Omar Abdullah himself was meeting with BJP leaders. Was there any truth to that?
You see, there were rumors, like you said. There are always stories in Kashmir. There are endless stories there. They will never end. But if you recall, Omar had also publicly said that he was willing to support the PDP. So he may have been reaching out to the BJP, but he was also saying that he will support the PDP. But Mufti Saab preferred to go with the BJP. You see, there is a catch which we must remember when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir. And every Kashmiri leader, worth his salt, is conscious of this, that it's very difficult to run this very sensitive state without support from Delhi. So I think you keep that in mind.
So that brings me, Mr. Dullat, to my next question, which is actually the most important question that is being asked all over Jammu and Kashmir today, which is that Omar Abdullah, as the next chief minister, the putative chief minister, is he reaching out to Delhi, to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, a bit more than he should? Because now people are saying that he does not want to roll back Article 370.
You see, 370, everybody knows, it's not going to be rolled back. It's a question of, what will you say in public? And that's what irks Delhi, If Omar were to rake up 370 all the time, it's not going to go down well in Delhi. I mean, we understand all that. Now, what is significant, what Omar has said is that he would like to have a good relationship with Delhi, and that is significant. And it's important. And he's also said, I thought quite smartly, that we don't want a relationship with the BJP, but we want a relationship with the center. Now, you can't have a relationship with one without the other. But anyways, what he's trying to say is that that's important, that the party in power and Omar now will have to try and keep the center on his side.
But just like
whatever the center means.
But just like the fact that it irks Delhi when Kashmiris say that we need to roll back Article 370, in the same way, Mr. Dulat, the Kashmiris are talking about, and they want Omar Abdullah to say that that Article 370 should be rolled back, and they are putting pressure on him that this should be done in the first cabinet meeting. What do you think?
You're right, absolutely right. I mean, now that's a test for Omar, how he plays it, because both things are being said. You're absolutely right. The Kashmiri would want him to say that, maybe there are people in his own party who would want him to say that. I'm sure Yusuf Tariqami would want him to say that. But whether he says that or not, we'll see. You see what is in his favor here, and that's why I'd say that however meager the numbers of the Congress, I think this alliance is very important for Jammu and Kashmir. Because, one thing in which the Congress would be with him is that if he doesn't rake up 370, because the Congress has never talked about 370. So, there are lots of ifs and buts, and I think Omar is smart enough. He'll play it okay.
What do you think, Mr. Dulat? Now, President's rule has been revoked. We saw that. However, there is what we call the Delhi model in front of us, which is that, like in Delhi, you have a very powerful lieutenant governor who is appointed by the center, by the BJP, directly reports to the BJP in some ways. Similarly, do you think that this kind of a model will apply to Jammu and Kashmir, although there is now an elected chief minister, an elected assembly, but there continues to be a lieutenant governor? So explain this sort of dichotomy, if you like, to us.
It's what Kejriwal has already said, that if surprisingly, the Aam Aadmi Party won a seat in Doda.
In Doda.
Which no one expected.
Mehraj Malik. So good for him.
Kejriwal is saying to Omar that if you want help in running half a state, he can help you. Because now this is going to be the biggest problem for Omar. That how do you run this thing? And also the other thing is that we talked about the lieutenant governor. He's been there long enough, And I think there are a lot of stories that he might be shifted also. So
Yeah.
we wait and watch in the next week, 10 days, what happens. But I see Umar firmly in the saddle. And he's been a good chief minister in the past. I think he'll be a much better chief minister this time. He's grown up, he knows things. And, there were stories this time also during the election because he lost the parliament election, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There were stories that he might lose 1 out of 2 of his seats, but he won both comfortably. And that settles all the ghosts of let me say, North Kashmir.
Well, the fact that he lost the Baramulla parliamentary constituency and won both his assembly, like you said, both Badgam and Gandarbal. But let me come back to you about this, the restoration of statehood. Now, every Kashmiri wants it. I also traveled in Kashmir in the run-up to the election a little bit. But and none other than both Prime Minister Modi as well as Home Minister Amit Shah did say in the run-up to the election that there will be a restoration of statehood. But what does that mean, Mr. Dulat? Is it a carrot that Delhi will dangle in front of Omar Abdullah, in front of the Kashmiris, and say that, listen, you have to behave and only then you will get restoration of statehood will be restored? What do you think it means?
Oh, I think this is a test now for Delhi. We've spoken of various things which would test Omar, but this really is a test for Delhi. I think, in all honesty, that I think the sooner statehood is restored, the better for Delhi's credibility, really. Because, that's something that Kashmir craves desperately now. They know 370 is not going to come back. It's done, dusted, finished.
Do they know
But,
that?
yeah, statehood is an issue. Of course they know. They will talk about 370 and they'll want Umar to talk about 370, but they also know 370 is gone. It's not going to come back. So what about statehood? Now,
so let me interrupt you. So Modi did. So let me interrupt you, Mr. Dulat. So Prime Minister Modi did a good thing. The BJP did a good thing on the 5th of August 2019 by abrogating Article 370. Yes.
No, I don't say. At that point of time, I wrote against it. I spoke against it because I thought it's not necessary. There was nothing left of 370. It was just nothing. And actually, 370 was finished in 75 when Sheikh Saab entered into an accord with Indira Gandhi. That was the end of 370. So it was not necessary. And, unnecessarily, we in a sense, we provoked the Kashmiri. And, there was a fear, the governor at that time, Satpal Malik, was apprehensive that there would be a huge uprising in Kashmir. But again, the Kashmiri bluffed everybody and, it didn't happen. So, over a period of time, the Kashmiris have realized that 370 is not going to come back. Mm-hmm. And the Kashmiri realizes everything. He is very adaptable, very adjustable. But this whole business of statehood, as I say, is a test for the center, for the Prime Minister, for the Home Minister. They've got to realize that Delhi will not help Delhi, and it will certainly make things very difficult for the Chief Minister. Mm-hmm. Let me put it like, for the relationship between the state and the center to go forward, I think statehood must be restored at the earliest.
So could there be like an implied quid pro quo, if you like, restoration of statehood in exchange for...
Yeah, in exchange for a good relationship, in exchange for 2 or 3 things, basically a good relationship between Srinagar and Delhi, and not bringing up 370, and restoration of statehood. So you have 3 things on the table.
Now, the election seems to have gone off really well, Mr. Dulat. There was very little violence, some violence on the line of control.
Everybody deserves full credit, particularly those on the ground in Srinagar and Jammu. And I would say my colleagues who work in the agencies, I think they did a fantastic job.
Including your colleagues in the agencies?
That's what I said. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now,
You know, nobody realizes that they work very, very hard.
okay. Well, I'm sure every Kashmiri is very aware of the role that the agencies have played in the past in the politics of the valley.
Now I'm not talking of negative role. I'm talking of positive role, that you had a good, free, fair election without violence. That's what I'm talking of. I'm not talking of the hanky-panky.
So this free and fair election where there was no violence, and this was pretty, it's an amazing thing that after 10 years of an election, after 5 years of the abrogation of 370, you could still have an election in the marvelous way that it turned out. Now, my question to you is, do you think that there could have been some conversation between India and Pakistan in the run-up to the election? After all, the Pakistanis also kept the LOC quiet.
I don't know about that. But, my belief is, quite like yours, Jyoti, that I think we should always be engaging with Pakistan. Not engaging with Pakistan doesn't make any sense to me. But I am also senseless. So, the point is, and this is what Dr. Farooq keeps saying, that we need to talk to Pakistan. We need to engage with Pakistan. And so I think that that's the positive that I see is that our foreign minister is going there for the SCO meeting. But I thought there was no need for him to promptly say that there's no bilateral. Leave it to the Pakistanis. I've been messaging and talking to Pakistanis. I said the ball is in your court. Our foreign minister is coming. He's doing what you wanted him or expected him to do. So now you need to engage with him. I think we need to engage with him.
But what is it what will it take to break the ice? It's been 10 years. Mr. Modi has been elected for the third time. What do you think?
It will take to break the ice, but it won't happen. And I've told the Pakistanis this many times, that Diwali is coming up. Why doesn't Shahbaz come here with a lot of sweets for Modi ji and then go on to Ajmer Sharif? And in Delhi, say all the right things that Delhi wants to hear. That's the way to move forward.
So
Shahbaz Sharif won't accept it.
So Shahbaz Sharif should just call Prime Minister Modi. The Prime Minister of Pakistan should call the Prime Minister of India and say, okay, Modi ji, I'm coming to celebrate Diwali with you. Yes?
Exactly. Modi ji can't say don't come.
So
does it make sense?
Somebody has to break this logjam. Yeah, well.
Yeah, it has to be, we talk about things out of the box. But I would say it has to be something crazy to break this logjam. Something not just out of the box, but something, like that. And the Pakistanis, as I said, no, how can he do that? How can our Prime Minister just go there with sweets? Why? The Prime Minister can go there with sweets. If you remember 2015, Modi ji did go to Rajasthan to celebrate somebody's granddaughter's wedding.
Shahbaz Sharif's granddaughter's wedding,
Shahbaz from coming to Delhi over for Diwali. Yeah. And then keep his own constituency happy. He can say, I'm going to Ajmer Sharif.
That sounds like a wonderful idea, Mr. Dulat. I hope both Prime Minister and Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif are listening to you. Yeah. Now, I want to come back to Kashmir, Mr. Dulat, and ask you a couple of questions on the role of the independents. Not one of them has won their seat. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. The independents who are allied to the Jamaat-e-Islami, not one of them have won their seats. They have been completely rejected by the public. Why do you say that? Why do you think that happened?
In Kashmir, there are 4 parties or groups which are very significant. The National Conference, the Shias, the tribals, which include, the Gujars, the Bakarwas, the Pahadis, and the Jamaat-e-Islam. In the parliament election, that's why I say that Dr. Farooq is the Sultan of politics. In the parliament elections, he put up a Shia candidate and he put up a Gujar candidate, and both won comfortably. And he sent his son his son went to Baramulla and unfortunately lost. This time, what has happened, as I see it, I think not only those three, but even the Jamaat has voted for the National Conference.
The Jamaat has voted for the National Conference.
Yes, yes. That's why they've got 40. And that's why all those independents and all that have been wiped out. You know, I go back to 2019 or 2020. You know, when these leaders who were under house arrest were being released, they were the same issues as you are raised today were being raised then also. Now, what will they say? Will they talk about 370? Will they talk about Pakistan, this, that, and the other? And Dr. Farooq, being Dr. Farooq, she was quite willing to go along with Delhi. And then Delhi started creating its own proxies, you know, which I thought was senseless. Now those proxies have all fallen by the wayside, one by one, because they were all pygmies compared to the big man. You know, the only one who has won one seat is Sajjad, possibly because he's a bigger pygmy than the others. Everybody else has been wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
And my sense that Jamaat has voted for the National Conference.
But why? Why would the Jamaat do that?
Why did the Kashmiri come out to vote this time? Same reason. This is an amazing election where the Kashmiri wanted to come out and vote and voted in very large numbers. So the Jamaat would, it's like, you know, let me take you back a while. Do you remember a time when the RSS supported Mrs. Indira Gandhi?
Yes.
You remember? Same logic, same argument, same logic. Well, let's vote for the winning side. It was quite clear that there's the BJP, the National Conference is going to sweep the valley. So why would the Jamaat be on the losing side? You know, everyone's logic is that the Jamaat has always been with the PDP. Now the PDP itself has been wiped out. There are only 3 seats. And I still feel that Mehbooba and her daughter have a role in the future.
Mm.
You know? But the Jamaat didn't vote for the PDP.
But can I ask you here that some of the Jamaat and the Jamaat sponsored independents who are also seen by a lot of Kashmiris to be proxies of the BJP, I'm sure many of them have lost their deposit. For example, the Sayar Rishi who fought against Tariq Ami in Kulgam, he seems to have done quite well because Tariq Ami only won by about 6,000 votes. And but some of the others,
that's good enough.
Yeah, 6,000 is a fair size of vote in Kulgam, and considering Tariq Ami is the 5th time he won.
Don't forget that Saab has won 5 out of 5 elections from Pulwama. So you have to give him credit.
Yes, he won a good election. But there was this other independent candidate sponsored by the Jamaat, aligned with the Jamaat in Bandipora. I forget his name, although I did meet him and interview him. And, you know, Mr. Dulat, it was really interesting because he had an anklet around his ankle. So basically the agencies or the state authorities or whoever you want had put this thing around his ankle so he won't get out of his constituency, which was really fascinating. You know, that you had that the candidates were all kinds of people. That guy, I'm sure, has lost his deposit.
But going to Bandipur, don't forget that the Congress has put up a good candidate there. You know, Nizamuddin has been in every party, but he's a very smart fellow. You know, he's got brains. He's not a loser. And he's one of the Kashmiris with a very smart brain.
Yeah. So last couple of questions, Mr. Dulat, about the Congress. Really, like you said right at the start, embarrassing showing in Kashmir. Why do you think that happened?
Kashmir, they've done well. They won 5 out of 7. The flop has been in Jammu, and I think they need to pull their socks up, and they need to look into what went wrong and start working on Jammu.
Did they take it for granted?
No, I didn't. I don't think they took it for granted, but I think they didn't work on Jammu. They didn't work hard enough. There was nobody there. You know, if it came down to local people and those local people people said they were not the best choice and they were not good enough, obviously.
And what about the BJP? The BJP did pull up its socks, unlike the Congress, have performed very well.
The BJP, yeah. Everybody, I would say a couple of months before the election, everybody said that the BJP could be in trouble in Jammu because not everybody was happy with the BJP. But the BJP worked very hard in Jammu, and therefore that's the difference. The Congress didn't work hard or didn't hardly work. The BJP worked very hard and it paid dividends. It's as simple as that.
The BJP also tried very hard to get at least one seat in the valley, and there was a lot of talk of Gurez that they would win Gurez.
That was not going to happen. I could have told them that you won't get a seat in the valley. The Kashmiri will not vote for the BJP. It goes back to the old story. I'll take you back to 2014 and 15 and whatever happened after that. The Kashmiri was very angry with Mufti Sahib. They said they brought the BJP into Kashmir. Now, in course of time, the BJP will come into Kashmir. But Kashmiri, after 370 and this and that and whatever it is, any day there would be a preference in the valley for the Congress. And that's why the Congress has done well.
But the National Conference, by the same yardstick, Mr. Dulat, the National Conference has done very poorly in the Jammu region. Now that makes it again.
No. The National Conference has won seats more than the Congress. The National Conference, I don't know the number now, but they have won seats in Jammu. All 42 haven't come in the valley. I think they won about 5-6 seats in the Jammu area.
You still have this huge imbalance, right? So the National Conference is still seen to be a Kashmiri Valley party rather than a Jammu and Kashmiri party.
No, let me remind you of something. The president of the BJP, local BJP in Jammu, who contested, I think, from Nowshera or something.
Yeah,
Mr. Raina.
Devendra Rana, yeah.
He lost the National Conference. Yeah, so he lost to the National Conference. Okay? So it's not all Hindu and Muslim. It is. Let me concede that, but largely it is. And somehow, everybody concerned needs to rectify that. If there is an assurance to the Kashmiri that you will always be in a majority in the valley, then things will ease out and it will become easier to get the two together. Like Mufti said, I'll bring the North and South together, but nobody could. There are ways of doing it. Like there are ways of getting the pundits back. There are ways of still reaching out to the midwives who keep saying almost every day, I'm ready. Nobody talks to him. And they do talk to him. Again, I think the agencies did very well to get him to talk. And then, again, he's under house arrest. He can't go to the mosque. He can't pray. So it makes no sense. I'll tell you something more. This time, a lot of the old separatists were reaching out, saying, we are willing to do what you wanted us to do earlier.
What's the moral of that story?
Grab them. You see, I'll tell you the moral is that if we go back to 1947, now we are in 2024, what has Delhi been trying to do all these years? To mainstream Kashmir, get the Pakistani factor out of their minds. Now, by and large, that Pakistani factor has gone. I am not saying that Pakistan does not matter. It will matter. But the way it was earlier, it's gone out of the Kashmiri mind. And I think a watershed moment was 9/11. When 9/11 happened, and Bush said to Musharraf, he read the riot act to him, and he said clearly, either you're with us or against us.
Right.
At that time, Musharraf said, yeah, I'm with you. He joined the fight against terror. And the Kashmiri said, if these fellows can't fight for themselves, how can they fight for us? They're useless. And it's been over a period of time. So if we are trying to mainstream Kashmir, and we have succeeded to a very large extent, today Kashmir is mainstream, then why are you leaving out the poem of Meerwais? Why are you leaving out whatever the remnants of those separatists? Why don't you bring them in?
Yeah, that's a fair point, Mr. Dulat, and also with the BJP itself, the fact that it contested this election across the valley, across Jammu, even though it didn't win any seats in the valley. But I think it's been a lesson to all the political parties, to all of India, that the Kashmiris have voted with both their hands, with their feet, and have delivered this incredible election. And a new assembly, a brand new assembly is coming into being. Omar Abdullah will be the new chief minister, but we will see how it goes. And thank you so much, as always, Mr. Dulat, for your very refreshing insights.
I would only, one last word, I would like to wish Omar all the very best. He needs help.
Well, he will be tested sooner than later. But thank you so much for speaking to the Tribune and for your time and for your insights. Thank you so much once again.
Thanks, Jyoti. Thank you.